Hi guys, welcome to my channel. This is your daily horoscope for 18th October 2021, which is a Monday. So let's get started. And the first thing I want to talk about is the moon. The moon has changed signs. It's entered the sign of Aries. Throughout the weekend, the moon was in the sign of Pisces, which was an energy about going with the flow. It was a very creative, spiritual energy. But the moon in Aries is different. It's an energy about getting things done and taking action and taking initiative. It's a very bold, impulsive energy. So that's the energy for the next 2.5 days. Getting things done, being proactive about things. So that's the moon in Aries, and we do have a full moon building up in the sign of Aries, and the moon is now in Aries. So that's something I thought I'd mention. And this is 4 a.m. Pacific time. Now, if you are elsewhere in the world, you can always convert the Pacific time to your time zone to know when the energy is going to happen for you. All right, moving on. That's the first thing. The second thing that I want to mention real quick is that Jupiter now is direct. It went direct yesterday at about 11 p.m. Pacific time, and Jupiter has been retrograde for a few months now, and Jupiter is the third planet to go direct in the month of October. Since April, one by one, all the planets started to go retrograde, and that meant the pace at which things was moving slowed down. It was more a period of reviewing things we worked on, working on them a little bit more. But now, since October 6th, with Pluto direct, October 10th, Saturn, and now yesterday, 11 p.m., Jupiter went direct, which means the pace at which things has been moving will start to pick up and the forward movement will begin again. And that happened yesterday. And very quick, Jupiter is the planet of blessings and rewards and lessons. So when it's retrograde, the intensity of these things slows down. But now that Jupiter is direct, the intensity of these things will pick back up again, including the lessons. So Jupiter is blessings and gifts, yes, but it brings lessons as well. And the next important thing happens at 7 a.m. Pacific time, and that is that the moon in Aries is going to trine the south node and sextile the south node. Now, the nodes are karmic. The south node is what we leave behind, and the north node is where we are headed. And the moon in this positive aspect just means that we are probably feeling good about where we are headed. Our emotions, in some ways, are aligning with where we are headed, and at the same time, with the trine to the south node, it gets easier and easier to let go of the past. And over the weekend, Venus here did trine Chiron, and it sextiled Mercury, right? We did feel good in some ways about our relationships or projects or self-worth over the weekend because of this aspect. Now, moving on, the next important thing happens at about 9 a.m. Pacific time. And what's happening here is that Mercury has gone direct, right? So if you look at the chart, 8 a.m. Pacific time, Monday morning, Mercury 10:07 is in red font. But if I move up the chart by an hour, right, it's in black font. Mercury has gone direct. Now, Mercury is the planet of our thinking, our communication, our day-to-day, right? Our routine, our habits, all these things. And from September 27th, Mercury has been retrograde, which meant that it's not the best time to start something absolutely new up until this point, Monday morning. And which also meant that communication could have slowed down and gadgets could have malfunctioned. And the theme of this Mercury retrograde was transformation. Transformation because it retrograded in an aspect that was a square to Pluto and a trine to Jupiter, which simply meant that this Mercury retrograde asked us to transform either our thinking, our communication, our day-to-day routine, our habits, our job, our health habits, all Mercury things. We were required to transform those in some way, and that transformation could have felt challenging since Pluto made a square to Mercury. But it would have led to some lesson, some blessing, or some reward with the trine to Jupiter. And now Mercury is coming out of retrograde. It will still cover the area that it has covered twice already. First when it was direct, then when it retrograded, and now this will be the third time Mercury covers degrees between 10 and 25, I believe. I could be mistaken, but I think it's 10 and 25 Libra. Those are the degrees Mercury will cover for the third time. And that means whatever work we've done in the past month or so, we'll still work on it and work on transforming and work on receiving those lessons and blessings. But this is the most helpful transit of Mercury. The third time is the most helpful. So this is what's happening now. Now is the time, whatever work we've done, we'll gain more clarity because we are approaching it the third time from a different perspective, a more helpful perspective. And that's Mercury retrograde, right? It's going direct, and now that's the fourth planet to go direct in the month of October. Now is the time we can start to, really venture into new areas and do new things because Mercury is direct. And speaking of Mercury, Mercury is still in an opposition with Chiron. So although there is positivity, right? Because we did have the Sun trine Jupiter, although it squared Pluto on the weekend, intense. There is an element of feeling a little wounded, right? Because Mercury, our logical mind, is opposing Chiron, the planet of our pain. But through this aspect, through communication, through writing, or through changing how we think or our diet, lifestyle, day to day, there's healing. So there is this underlying element of feeling a little pain, feeling like we have these wounds. But the goal is to make adjustments so that we can heal ourselves through communication or any other Mercury things that I just mentioned. And this feeling of feeling wounded, of communicating about these things or changing things up in our day to day or habits and all these sort of things can come in bursts. One moment you're feeling like, oh, I feel great. Another moment you're feeling like, I have this pain coming back up and I don't know how to deal with it. And the next minute it's feeling like, okay, let's talk about it. Let's resolve this. So that's the energy, because Mercury here is still in a quincunx with Uranus. Uranus is sudden. It's a planet with a lot of energy, but the energy is in bursts. So that's why I say this energy is happening. And I know that sounds like a lot because it is a lot, right? It is a lot. And moving on, let's see. We do have another positive aspect, right? Mars here is it's trining Jupiter. It's not exact yet, but it's trining Jupiter. Now this is a lot of positive energy. Mars is the planet of action and taking initiative and getting things done, and Jupiter is the planet of blessings and rewards, and it magnifies anything it touches. So at this point we have a lot of drive, a lot of energy to be able to take action and get things done. A lot of energy. So we must utilize that Martian energy in a positive way and start doing things that we've been wanting to do, because the card for the weekend was taking risks, and the energy has been about, taking action and getting things done with all the cards that we have gotten in the last week. And I think with this energy and with Mercury moving out of retrograde, we can really go after what we want because the universe is going to support us. And I feel if we don't go after what we want and take that action, that can lead to frustration. And that's simply because Mars is also anger and frustration. And if we don't channel that Martian energy in moving forward, we can feel a little angry and frustrated. I don't think that's going to happen though, because it's a positive aspect, but there's always a possibility, right? But this is a great time to do new things, start new things, go after what you want. And Mercury came direct, so really the best time to go after something. And over the weekend, the Sun here did square Pluto, right? We were asked to transform something connected to our identity, our consciousness, our soul. inner transformation or to our identity. The sun is all these things. And soon after that, we have Mars here trining Jupiter. So maybe we went through a transformation. We decided to transform. And now we have that fire, that drive, that initiative to be able to go after and make that transformation fully. Because if you're asked to transform our identity, say, we have to take action to do it. And the universe is now giving us that energy to be able to take that action to do it. So like I said, there's a lot of positivity, a lot of it. But at moments, there's a feeling of feeling wounded. So just be mindful of that. And moving on, we do have another slightly stressful aspect, right? Okay, let's see. We have the moon conjunct Chiron in an opposition with Mercury. And the moon is our emotions and Chiron is the planet of our pain. So this is a moment where we can really feel that pain. We can really feel those wounds because our emotions have met up with Chiron. But again, through communication, through thinking things through making adjustments in our routine, lifestyle, diet, health, job, etc., we can heal. But the feeling is not the best because Chiron is bittersweet. Even the healing feels challenging, and this is a stressful aspect. So this is a moment, 9 p.m. Pacific time, where we can feel slightly hurt, slightly wounded, but at the same time, I do want to show you Mars is at 2222. It has finished its trine to Jupiter, not the energy, but the exact trine has peaked, right? We will still feel this. So there's positivity on one hand, but there's a feeling of feeling wounded on the other hand. But my suggestion is to channel all that energy into going after what you want. And this is a moment where Mercury is making its aspect with Chiron while it's direct, right? So this is a moment where all the work we've been doing on healing ourselves, on facing that pain, will maybe reach its peak, maybe resolve. I don't want to say resolve because things never resolve fully. We always keep dealing with something, but this is the most helpful time for all the pain that we've been working through. And it comes at a point where Mars here is trining Jupiter. So much positivity, so many blessings, so much abundance, so much drive and energy to get things done. And that's pretty much it for today. So today is a very, very positive day. We had Jupiter go direct last night at 11. Mercury went direct this morning at 9 a.m. And the moon is in Aries, where it is building up to the full moon in Aries. And we have the Mars Jupiter trine come exact today. And this trine is happening at a point where Jupiter is direct. Jupiter was retrograde till last night, right? Okay, let me move up a few hours to show you guys. So the trine will come exact about 7-8 p.m. Pacific time. And you can see this because Mars is at 2218 and Jupiter here is at 2219. And it's when Jupiter is direct, right? Direct planets are all about moving forward, taking action. In retrograde, it can be about the past coming back up. It can be about working internally. It can be about all these things. But this is a point where Mars and Jupiter are making their trine while both these planets are direct. So this is and Mercury went direct a few hours before this trine comes exact. A lot of power, a lot of energy, a lot of blessings, abundance to get things done and go after what we want. So it's a great energy. And although we still have Mercury opposing Chiron and conjuncting Uranus, and the moon will conjunct Chiron today, that's the background, right? That's the background. So don't let that feeling of feeling wounded hold you back. Go after what you want. This is the time. 4 planets are direct, and the universe is supporting us. Okay, that's that. Now, what we are building up to are a few things, and the first of those things is that Venus here is getting ready to quincunx Uranus. So we'll talk about this. And this could be a sudden, unexpected change that comes to our relationships, to our projects, or how we feel about ourselves. So, this is that energy. And it's not positive, nor is it negative. It just feels, um, it feels a little different. So, but the overlying energy is about a sudden, unexpected change to our relationships, how we feel about ourselves or our projects, so that we can be more in tune with our true authentic self, because that's Uranus as well. And that's the first thing. The second thing I do want to mention is that we have a full moon in Aries, right? The moon entered the sign of Aries this morning, 3 a.m., and now we're going to build up to the full moon in Aries. And this is a very intense full moon. This is a very important full moon. We'll talk about those things, but we are building up to that. And today, Mars did trine Jupiter, but Mars here, where's Mars? Here. Mars here is getting ready to square Pluto. So we will see this as well. And we are building up to a lot of intensity, but today is a great day to move forward and get things done. So that's all I'm going to say. And the big picture of 2021, now I'll give that. Now, these are themes we deal on a daily basis that we're working on in the background, so to speak. And the first of those is the Uranus-Saturn square of 2021. This energy is not at its peak right now. It was in the month of June, will be in the month of December, but right now it's not at its peak, but we're feeling it. And this energy is something we're feeling after 21 years, and it's asking us to change. It's asking us to transform, embrace our true authentic self. And since they're squaring a challenging aspect, the process of letting go of the old, of embracing the new, of embracing our truth, our true identity, our true authentic self can feel challenging. And that's why 2021 has this intensity of change, intensity of moving into new areas, venturing into new areas, closing out old things. It has that intensity, and that's because of this aspect. And another thing about 2021 is that in 2020, we had two astrological cycles begin. The Saturn Pluto, a 33 to 38 year cycle that started in Jan of 2020 and changed our reality in a very powerful way. And we're understanding that, working on that, building that in 2021. And the second, a 20-year cycle with the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction that started in December of 2020. And we are building that, understanding that in 2021 as well. So that's why 2021 has this energy of intensity, of change, of finding our truth, embracing our authentic self, and building a lot of the cycles that started last year. And now I will pick a card for today, and then we'll close it out. Okay. It says solitude. I think this card is reminding us to embrace the solitude, right? In some way, if it gets too intense today, maybe embrace some moments by yourself, and that can give us that peace, because the moon is in Aries, a very fiery sign, a very fiery energy, and we also have Mars trining Jupiter, a lot of energy. So if at moments it's positive, yes, but if at moments it gets too much, maybe find time for yourself and time to take out for yourself and be with yourself. Let's go with one more. Purity. And I think with so much energy to get things done and move forward, because Jupiter went direct yesterday, Mercury today morning, maybe whatever you want to do or approach, maybe do it with an intention of purity. think that's what this card means to me today. Otherwise, this card would typically mean Virgo, because Virgo is the energy of being pure and perfect, or at least aiming to be pure and perfect, but we don't have energy in Virgo. So this is probably saying that maintain your purity, maintain that pure heart. It says voyage, and I think this card is saying that a voyage is a journey, right? And a journey in to me today is starting something new or going after what we want with the Mars Jupiter trine, right? The energy to go after what you want, the energy to get things done, and that's something like a journey. So I think that's pretty much it today. And the cards do say that we might need to take time out for ourselves and maintain some purity, because I did say there's no energy in Virgo, but Mercury is the ruler of Virgo and Gemini, and it is coming out of retrograde today. So maybe something connected to our communication, our thinking, our diet, our lifestyle, our habits, or whatever changes we are making, maybe approach those from a pure heart with some purity. And that's all I'm going to say. I hope you have a great Monday, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.